Hello, and welcome to today's video. This is the JAN-uary book tag. So this is created by JAN-uary. I will link the original video down below, and I think there's also an updated 2025 version as well, so I'll link those down below. But yeah, there's basically 10 questions in this tag that are all centered around the start of the year, it being January, and kind of just talking through reading what's been read previously, what the plans are for this year, and just like reflecting but also looking forwards. I did this tag last year, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a really good tag to start the year with, so I thought I'd do it again, and I'm really excited to answer these questions. So there are 10 questions overall, and I think we should just get into them. Question number 1: what was the last and first, if you remember, book you read last year? So the last book that I read in 2024 was called Vicious Fae. This is the third book in the Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac series, which is a spin-off from the Zodiac Academy. It's like a prequel series, and yeah, it was a really fun, good time, honestly. Like, I've been really enjoying the series. They're all like solid 4-star books, they're all solid, like guaranteed good times, and honestly I just wanted to finish the year on like having a good cool time, and I did. So I was very happy with it being the last book of the year. It was a solid 4 stars, and yeah, it was a decent one. I already knew I was going to enjoy it, and it just kind of like rounded the year up really well. In terms of the first book that I read last year, it was actually a poetry collection, so I did have to go back into my reading journal to check. But the first book that I read in 2024 was a poetry collection called Euphoria by h.Youssef. A 3.5 stars. Honestly, I can't remember anything specific about the poetry collection. I remember it's good. I'd read the author's most recent collection that had come out and really enjoyed it, so for going into his like backlist would be a good idea. It wasn't as good as the most recent collection. I don't know if I'll continue to go into the backlist because I don't think it's quite for me, but it's still 3.5 stars. Still a lot of poems in there that I enjoyed, still a lot of poems that like I definitely connected with. If I remember correctly, the further into the author's backlist, the more kind of like religiously preachy the poems are, which is not for me. Like the poetry collection, the most recent one that I'd read, had like none of that, so it was a bit surprising and a bit shocking, and I think that's why it was a lower mark. Question number 2: what is your first read this year? So I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that my first read of like the year of January will be Sipping Dom Perignon Through a Straw. This is a memoir by Eddie Ndopu, a disability activist, disability rights activist, as long as like loads of other stuff, like loads of other achievements and accomplishments as well. But like I think what he's mainly known for is like his disability activism, and yeah, it sounds like a really good, really interesting memoir. From the synopsis, it sounds like it's gonna really get me, really connect with me, and I'm gonna learn a lot from it as well, but on a very personal level, and I'm really excited about it. If you do want to hear me talk about it properly, I can link my January TBR where I do go over it. I'm pretty sure I'll go through the entire synopsis, and it is on the official January TBR, so I will be finishing it definitely this month. The reason I say I hope for it to be my first read is because I've decided to read it physically. That was the way that I was personally like connecting to it most, so I was like, okay, I'll read it physically. But I do like having an audiobook on the go as well, and I don't know what audiobook that will be yet. I haven't yet decided on one, so there is a chance that whatever audiobook I end up picking will like be finished first, but right now it's looking like Sipping Dom Perignon Through a Straw will end up being the first one. But by this time this video comes out, that would have been decided. It will be known what book I finish first, so yeah, hopefully Sipping Dom Perignon Through a Straw. Memoirs tend to get 5 stars. I think 5-star read would be a good way to start the year, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Question number 3: share 3 of your reading goals for this year. So my reading goals, I do have an entire video. Where I'll go through and I'll talk through my reading goals. I can link it up above, but 3 of them I guess are to read 52 books. This is a nice manageable reading goal for me. This is what I set as my Goodreads goal. 52 is really achievable, even if I'm like deathly ill, having a bad time, having a bad mental health week, like, or having a really busy week. Like, no matter what's going on, I can almost guarantee I can finish 1 book a week. So even if 2025 ends up getting completely flipped on its head and it's not the year I'm expecting it to be, 52 books should hopefully, fingers crossed, still be achievable. So that's my first goal. And then I'd also like to read 50% non-fiction. This is a massive goal of mine. This is the first time I ever tried to do it. But previous to starting this channel, I read a lot more non-fiction than I do now. And I still purchase the non-fiction I found interesting, but I haven't been making time to read it. So this year I'm going to try and read 50% non-fiction. So for every fiction book I pick up and read, I need to pick a non-fiction book up, and I think it'll be really interesting, really intense, honestly probably difficult. Like right now it seems realistic. I'm starting the year off reading a memoir, which is non-fiction, but I don't know how this is going to go through the year, so I'm really interested. I do always check in with my goals at least halfway through the year, but I think I'm going to do quarterly check-ins this year just to check that they are all still working for me and they are all still things that I want to achieve. But yeah, it's a goal that I'm really excited about, and I definitely really hope that I can pull it off. And then I guess my other like big goal and my other main goal, the ones that I'm really focusing on, is to get my physical TBR below 150. So the books that I physically own that I have not read yet, for that to be lower than 150. I'm really hopeful. I'm really hopeful about this. I made a massive go at it last year in 2024, and I made progress. I think I managed to get about 70 books off of my physical TBR. So if I can do that again this year, I would be almost at 150. So I've just got to do a little bit more, push a little bit more. And obviously non-fiction books have been piling up, so obviously I'm hoping that these different goals and these main goals I'm focusing on are really going to work together. I have really focused this year on, when I was setting my goals, making sure that all those goals work together, because in 2024 we had a few goals that worked against each other, like main goals and then like sub goals. They weren't aligning and they weren't going to match. Like there was no way I could achieve all of them. So hopefully in 2025, hopefully, fingers crossed, all of my goals work together and they can all be achieved. But we'll have to wait till the end of the year to see. Question number 4. Share 3 of your most anticipated titles. So again, I have an entire anticipated releases video. I will link it up above. These are just my anticipated releases that have currently been announced. I will do another video around June, July time with the rest of the year. But yeah, what I'm going to do is just talk about the first 3. So I think all 3 of these are potentially coming out in January, maybe some of February, but these are the first 3 that I'm aware of that I'm excited for. So we have Adrift in Currents, Clean and Clear. This is the 10th, I think, Wayward Children book. The 10th one, because 9 are here. So this is the 10th Wayward Children book. This is a series that I love. Every time I pick it up, I love it. I can't wait for the 10th one to come out. I imagine as soon as it is in my hands, I'll be reading it. So very excited for that one. Then we have The Baby Dragon Cafe. This is from an author I've never read from before, but I'm really excited about it. It is a cozy fantasy with a sprinkle of romance, and the entire setup is baby dragons. Every single book I've ever read that has baby dragons in it I've loved, so I figured let's give this one a go. I've been hearing good things about it already. Obviously it's not out yet, but like in terms of like before release reviews, they've been really good. So yeah, again, really hopeful about it, and we'll definitely be reading it as soon as I get my hands on it. And then the final one that I believe will be coming out end of January, start of February time. I do have all of the exact dates in that anticipated releases video, but I think it's kind of end of January time, is Give Me Butterflies. This is a Grumpy Sunshine workplace STEM romance, honestly, with an absolutely beautiful cover, which is what has really pulled me to it. I've read Grumpy Sunshine. I think it works okay. I've enjoyed it when I've read it. I don't think I've ever read a workplace romance, and I don't think I've ever read a STEM romance, so really just hoping for the best with this, but the cover was so beautiful that I just wanted to give it a go. So that is my 3rd of the year. There are so many more. I think there's about 18 in that anticipated release video that are like I'm so excited about. I don't know how I'm going to get to them all this year, but I'm going to try my best, because honestly there's none that I can imagine coming out that I won't just want to pick up straight away. So I'm gonna have to have a little bit of restraint, but hopefully, fingers crossed, we can get right to them all. Question number 5. Which goals did you reach / not reach last year? So in 2024 I set 8 goals and I complete 2 of them. So 2 out of 8, so a quarter is pretty good. But the 2 that I did complete were read 52 books, which was done, tick that off, lovely, and to DNF more, which I definitely did. I'm really happy that I did them. I'm really happy that I completed both of them. And then I did fail most of the rest. I think out of the ones that I failed, the one I'm most disappointed that I failed was to read 12 non-fictions. And honestly, it was failing that. I think it's the first year I've ever failed it and not just read 12 non-fictions throughout a year. Failing that is what has made me really rethink my reading and realise I need to prioritise non-fiction more, because I love them when I read them. Like, I'm not picking up non-fiction I find boring and don't want to read. Like, I pick up non-fiction I'm genuinely interested in, like, that make me think, that make me excited, that, you know, really call to me, but I'm not prioritising actually reading them. So yeah, that's kind of, failing that one has really got me to rethink my reading for 2025. So I guess it's kind of good that I failed it. It's given me a push, and maybe I needed that push. Question number 6. Are there any new releases you've heard of that you have no desire to read? I am pretty sure that the 3rd book in the Powerless series comes out in 2025. I really didn't like the 2nd book, so I have no desire to pick up the 3rd. Except that I can't really think of any. I'm sure there are others that are coming out that I'm not interested in, but honestly, the fact that I'm not interested in them probably just means they also just haven't come across my radar. Like, I haven't really been searching out books. I think all of the ways that I find books coming out in the next year is like personal, like it does rely on what I've already read. So yeah, I'm sure there's loads of others that are coming out that I have no interest in picking up, but as of right now, I'm not aware of them. Question number 7. What are some reading habits you want to change this year, if any? Yes, I want to read some. I want to change some reading habits. So obviously my goal to read 50% non-fiction, that is going to drastically change my reading habits. Like, that is going to change how I even think about reading. I think the main thing that's going to stop is me binge reading series. Like, I will often completely remove everything from my official TBR and binge read a series that I've got really into, which is normally also annoyingly a series that I don't own, so that doesn't help me with my physical TBR goals. But yeah, like, for every fiction book I read, I'm also going to be picking up a non-fiction, and I think that will really change a lot of things. Except for that, there's no intentional ways that I'm planning on changing my reading and my reading habits and how I read, but I just feel like there's going to be a lot of kind of like snowball effects of just introducing that one thing that I want to do. So I'm sure there will be lots of ways that it does change, but I won't notice that until I start looking through like statistics and pie charts and bar graphs and seeing these differences. But I'm sure there will be lots of ways that it really does change things up. Question number 8. Are there any adaptations you're excited about? No, I wrote these down because I don't really get excited about adaptations, honestly, because if you get excited about them, then they can disappoint you. But there are a few adaptations that I'm keeping my ear open about, and I'm hoping good things will come of them. So the next season of Heartstopper I think will be coming out in 2025, so I'm quite excited about that one. We'll potentially be getting the first season of Murderbot Diaries this year. I absolutely love the Murderbot series. I don't know how well the TV show will be. I will probably wait to hear reviews before watching it, but I feel like that could be a good one. Like, I'm optimistic about it. Not excited, but optimistic. And then, oh, I also think that we'll be getting potentially the Thursday Murder Club this year. I definitely have heard that they were filming it. I haven't seen anything about filming finishing or editing starting or anything like that, but I assume we'll be getting the Thursday Murder Club adaptation in 2025 as well. Whilst editing this, if there are any dates announced, I'll have put them on screen as I was talking about them, so it would have been there. But yeah, I have no idea of the dates of any of these or anything like that, but I imagine that they'll all be coming in 2025, and I don't want to be excited. I don't want to be. I'm trying not to be. But those are kind of the 3 that have caught my attention, which is honestly more than normal. The last few years, I think the only adaptation I've been aware of is Heartstopper, so yeah. Question number 9. I love this question. This is favourite bookish memory from last year. So honestly, there are a few to pick from, but the main one that came to mind when I think of this question is in 2024 we managed to go to Edinburgh, and honestly, just like Edinburgh by itself was amazing, and we went to so many bookshops whilst there, and they were gorgeous bookshops that I've seen online for years that we got to see in person and go into in person, and that included Toppings & Co. and going up the ladders in Toppings & Co. I did make Jay take a picture, I'll insert it here, of me on the ladders at Toppings & Co. And honestly, like, it was such a cool memory. Like, me and Jay were just exploring. I'm pretty sure it was a Sunday that we went there as well. Like, Scotland doesn't have Sunday trading laws, and oh my god, I just wanted to live in Scotland, honestly. Like, everything about it just seems amazing. But yeah, so we went there and we spent hours there. We both enjoy reading, but very different genres. Like, we have a bit of overlap, but mostly we read very differently. And we just explored the store, and I would say it probably wasn't the best store for either of us, but it was the store that both of us managed to like really look at things in and really see things. And it was just a great time, honestly. And getting to go up that ladder, like taking the picture that I've seen so many people take, was just like a really lovely little memory. So yeah, that's definitely got to be my favourite. Question number 10. Carryovers from last year that you still plan on finishing. So many. I have 9 books on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads that I have started and still want to finish. That's at least 9. Oh, and that 9 was after culling them. Like, at the end of December, I went through and made sure that everything on my currently reading shelf on Goodreads I actually wanted to read still, and those 9 were still there. But those are also only the ones that have made it onto Goodreads. I use 4 different apps for audiobooks, and there are honestly quite a few on all of them that I've started and I haven't transferred to Goodreads yet. Like, you know, I might only be a few chapters in, but technically I have started them in 2024 and just haven't finished them because they're on whatever app I use. And I don't tend to pay for all of the apps every month. Like, I have 2 apps for a couple of months and 2 apps for a couple of months or whatever, and just like really, you know, like oftentimes there's nothing I want to read on an app, so that gets discarded for a few months or whatever. But yeah, I know there's more in there. There's probably more than 6. So yeah, at least 15 books that I've started in 2024 that I would like to finish. We'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, I never like to think about carryovers because I would love my reading to stay like in the year, like for 2024 to just be all 2024. But like we're at 2025 now. We're at 2025 now, as insane as that sounds. And yeah, we'll see how we do. We'll see how we do. Maybe this will be the year that when I do this next January, I'll be saying, no, I've got no carryovers. I completed them all. I think it's highly unlikely, but you never know. But yeah, that was it for today. That was it for this video. That was the January book tag. I really hope you enjoyed it. I have a lot of fun filming this one. I think it's a really amazing one to start the year. And yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. If you are doing this tag, let me know in the comments. Give the video a like if you liked it. Subscribe if you see more content like this. And hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye.